All right, good morning, everybody. It's Monday, July 8th, 2013. Hopefully everybody had a safe and good holiday weekend for the 4th of July. I know it's a little damp around town, but I think Riverfest, we got the fireworks off on time, so that worked real good. This morning we'll start with a prayer and then pledge allegiance to our flag. I'll ask Commissioner Williamson if he'll lead us in the pledge, and everybody please rise. Lord, just remind us all that we're just stewards of that you've given us caretaker over. Lord, just be with our military, be with each and every one of us, Lord. Lord, we ask our country turn more toward you, Lord, and remember that you're the reason that we're here on this earth. Lord, we just thank you for all the blessings, and in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Please join me in the pledge to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'll start to my right and ask if there's any add-ons. Commissioner Williamson.
No changes, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Salter.
No changes, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Melvin.
No change, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Lynchard.
No changes.
Staff.
Mr. Chairman, a couple of items is I had sent out an email regarding a potential Land and Water Conservation Fund grant for the Baghdad Mill site. I sent the email out to you, and also Ms. Harris's memo and outline has been provided in your booklet. So I need to add that if I could. And the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant for Baghdad Mill site. And the second item would be a Relay for Life run on Navarre Beach, September 14th.
All right, we'll add them as items 6 and 7 under admin. All right, anything else? All right, I'll remind everybody, please put your communication devices on stun so we don't have to share in your conversations. We'll do that to remind each one of us up here so we don't do the same. Moving on this morning to Economic Development Committee, Commissioner Salter.
Mr. Chairman, no items other than just we continue to work on our site certification program, and Shannon doing a good job on preparing those sites.
Very much so, and I attended a reception last night for the governor down at the Grand Hotel in Pensacola, and he certainly is impressed with what Santa Rosa County's been doing in economic development. He commented on that. So, all right, we'll move on now. Admin Committee, item number 1 is discussion of request from the Navarre Garden Club for placement of a blue star marker in Navarre Park. If you'll please come forward.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Constantine is the Blue Memorial Chairman with the Garden Club. They've been working with Public Works and with the Transportation Planner on the placement of a marker. I guess it would on Highway 98. It'd be. I guess I'd assume it would be in the right of way or approximate to the right of way in the park.
Good morning. If you will, please, there's a button down there. There you go.
Thank you for the pleasure of allowing us to come before you on this date.
And if you will, please state your name and address, please.
My name is Martha Considine, and I'm chairman of the Blue Star Memorial Marker for Navarre Garden Club.
Thank you. Welcome and good morning.
The members of Navarre Garden Club request your permission to place a Blue Star Marker Memorial highway marker at Navarre Park in the area of the Chamber of Commerce tourist sign. We would like to plant a flower bed after the Chamber has installed their new sign. The marker will honor all U.S. military personnel for their dedication to our freedom. We are asking permission to hold the dedication of this marker on November 1st, 2013. We extend an invitation to you to attend this dedication, and you will be receiving a formal letter as to the time. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. I think it'd be a great addition to our county. I've, haven't seen a whole lot of Blue Star Memorial Highway signs, it don't seem like, in our area, so it'd be nice to see one here. I grew up seeing them on Route 30 and different places. Grew up in Pittsburgh and remember seeing those on quite a few of the highways up there, so it'd be a great addition, I think, to our county.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner?
These ladies have been working on this project for near enough a year and change now, and like anything else to do with the roadways and the systems that control those roads, it's a laborious task that moves at glacial speed. But I thank you for your persistence, and we're due to your efforts, we're ready to put it up, and thank you very much.
And I guess, Davis, everything's been cleared through the state and everything with that?
It's actually a state, it's an interesting process. It's a state program in conjunction with the state garden clubs, and then I believe that either Mr. Whitfield and Mr. Furman and then Sean Ward had helped us go through the hoops. Commissioner Melvin's absolutely right. It's kind of a laborious process, but I think that we've got the site, and there will be some once the sign's relocated, then it'll be kind of in that particular area or replaced. So I think they've got everything.
I met with Mr. Furman, and it's not going to be on the highway property. It's going to be strictly on the county, because he indicated there might be an additional right turnway put there in that area in the future. So we were sure to keep it away from getting on that right away.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming out this morning, and I guess, do we move this to Thursday for final approval? Oh, okay. All right, then we'll have a final approval on this on Thursday, but if you'd like to attend, you're certainly welcome, but I feel like the board's action on Thursday will be to accept this. Right. Yes, ma'am.
I have a couple things to add. My name's Pamela Johnson, and I'm the incoming president for the Garden Club of Navarre. And you wanted address, or is that 2446 Knotty Pine Drive, Navarre? I just wanted to add, thank you for putting us up for final approval on Thursday. And I wanted to assure you that the state of Florida has dedicated the highway from the Okaloosa County line up to the Escambia County line as a Blue Star marker highway. So that's cleared through the state. And then I'm also asking if once the chamber and commissioners decide on the sign that's for approval, if we could get a picture even of that sign so that we can continue to put together our landscaping plans. And I'd also like to ask who the chamber contact would be so that we can communicate with them. Is that?
Commissioner Melvin?
Yeah, Kelly Fuller, and if you'll get with me after the meeting, I'll give you her phone number.
Okay.
She's the CEO of the Navarre Chamber, and in fact, if you just look them up in the phone book and ask to speak to Kelly.
Kelly?
Yeah.
Okay, fine, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
All right, thank you. And Commissioner Salter's passing, we have some examples of the markers here, so pass that around for the rest of the board. And I might suggest, since the entire length through the county is going to be dedicated to that, you may want to get with Commissioner Lynchard and the Gulf Breeze Chamber and include all that together. So. All right. Okay, we'll move on now to item number 2, is discussion of scheduling public hearing on proposed amendment to the ordinance 2013-03 for the purpose of clarifying density on specific rezoned property. Mr. Walker?
If you'll indulge me, Commissioner, I think I can handle that one.
Mr. Walker's voice has changed there.
And you wouldn't
Ms.
think it
Jones.
was possible for the drawl to become deeper, would you? Anyway, this is an ordinance passed by the zoning board and by you all sometime past. In looking at it, We could have written it more artfully to include to better include what the intent of both boards was in keeping property at only 5-acre lots. So we'd like to amend the ordinance to cover that.
Okay, any questions, Commissioner Salter?
Mr. Chairman, this was one of the things I had requested Ms. Jones to do, and I just want to say thank you for doing it.
Okay. And it's all on the website and also on hard copy for any public to see. I'll read real quickly the section that has been changed. We've struck density not to exceed 1 dwelling per 5 acres on, and then instead it's no lot may be smaller than 5 acres. So that's the substance of the change in that ordinance. So, all right, and I'll move that to Thursday without objection. Hearing none, it passes. Item number 3 is discussion of settlement agreement in the amount of $45,000 for workers' compensation claim for sheriff deputy as recommended by the county attorney and county risk manager. Any questions from members of the board? Hearing none, it moved to Thursday without objection. It passes. Item 4 is discussion of proposal from Glickman Consulting, LLC, for actuarial services for self-insurance fund as recommended by auditing firm Warren Abbott, LLC. Backups in your book here on that. This has been recommended from DeVan Cook, our HR director. There was other ones involved, but this seems to be the best choice for this actuarial services. Any other comments or questions from our board? Hearing none, it passes till Thursday. Item 5 is public hearing scheduled for 9:30 a.m. Thursday, July 11th, 2013. We have none this week, so we won't take that up again. Item number 6, Baghdad funding grant. Mr. Walker.
Mr. Chairman, you had seen the add-on was the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant. This is a cycle that we have submitted several times for with the Baghdad Mill site. The maximum grant amount is up to $200,000, and the Land and Water Conservation is almost a legacy grant. It's been around a long time for outdoor recreation. And it's dollar for dollar. In other words, they will match every dollar up to $200,000. And if you'll notice in the email from Ms. Harris, is we had identified this as a grant source for the Baghdad Mill site. Some of those projects have already been included in other grants and other funding sources. Unfortunately, the match that we were counting on, we were utilizing TDC fund. The cash match that we'd have utilized also has been committed for these really more of the core projects. So we just need to, and we'll get with you before Thursday, and with Public Works to kind of come up with a plan if we can even submit this project for. Or submit this grant or this project for the grant. Because what we would propose to do would be to have Public Works do some of the work in this particular project, and then we would use that as the in-kind dollar-for-dollar match.
Mr. Walker, have we also included all the public input to that? I know they've kept pretty good logs on that, so if it's in kind, I would hope like the amount that the pirate group is dedicating for the gate, different things like that, we could add into this.
Well, and the fairly substantial amount of work that Road and Bridge is already done. We'll double check, but this would be separate from that. They're not going to allow you to count work that's already been done. It has to be, in other words, it would be on the project specific or the items that we specifically do at that time. I mean, they won't let you. It's like they won't let you do anything before the grant or count anything before the grant.
Okay. Well, I'm sure Ms. Harris will tweak it how she can to get us what we can. So appreciate the effort there. Any other questions from members of the board? All right, hearing none, then we'll look to talk about this again on Thursday. Without objection, hearing none, it passes. Item number 7 is our relay run at Navarre. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as I noted, it's would be using kind of what's become the traditional run route through Navarre Beach would be Gulf Boulevard, Arkansas, White Sands, and around. And typically start in the Navarre Beach Park. This would be Saturday morning, September 14th. Race starts at 7:30, probably over at 10:30. This will be in, like I said, September, so this should be a good event, shouldn't impact.
All right, so we'll have that on the agenda for Thursday for final approval. And hearing none, it passes till Thursday. We'll turn now to Mr. Blaylock for our engineer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item we have is a discussion of an intersection study for the Navarre Beach Causeway at the two intersections, US 98 and Gulf Boulevard. We have here today for a brief presentation, Volkert and Associate, our consultant. Fred Brown and Jason Small will be making the presentation. Gentlemen.
Morning. Thank you all for having me here today. Jason Small, Volkert, 651 East Burgess Road, Pensacola. Just want to talk to you briefly about the studies that we completed in Navarre. We have the presentation ready to pull up. And okay. We just want to talk to you briefly about these studies that we completed for the Navarre Causeway. We looked at the intersection of US 98 as well as Gulf Boulevard along the causeway here. These studies were conducted over the Memorial Day holiday. We collected traffic counts at the two intersections. We modeled the existing conditions, and then we looked at a couple of alternatives with that model of adding a roundabout at Gulf Boulevard, as well as an additional left turn lane northbound at US 98. I'm sure y'all are all very well of the level of congestion and traffic backup that is experienced during the summer peak travel times at these intersections. Those intersections are over capacity. The first thing that we looked at was a roundabout at Gulf Boulevard. The model indicated that this roundabout would reduce the intersection delay by approximately 84% during the peak travel times. And that's basically because you're not stopping as you enter a roundabout. You yield to the right of way. As soon as you're clear, you can move in. It also reduced the maximum volume to capacity ratio of the intersection. It allows more vehicles to move through that intersection per hour. A couple of key points though. Special consideration should be given to pedestrians with the roundabout. During our studies, we did notice a lot of pedestrians at the intersection as well as crossing mid-block. The model also indicated that roundabout would not have an effect on the delay at US 98. The other thing that we looked at was the addition of a northbound left turn lane at US 98 off of the bridge. We found that the model indicated that this would reduce that delay by about 25% at the intersection, as well as reduce that overall volume to capacity ratio. And similarly, the left turn lane did not indicate that it would reduce the delay at Gulf Boulevard. A couple of additional things that came out of this study. We recommended weekend timing plans during the summer. Those were completed just before the July 4th holiday. Would run Memorial Day to Labor Day, including 4th of July. But beyond the roundabout, we also recommend looking at other options for that intersection, removing that all-way stop. If there were any way that you could reconfigure it to provide access to the park or the public parking to the south there, that may be a more economical way to reduce that delay and reduce the congestion during those times. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner.
Thank you. This thing has been a perennial thorn in the side. I had an epiphany about 2 weeks ago, and I've been discussing it with the engineering staff, and we'll have something for the next set of meetings. But if you bring that slide back up that shows the sound, Highway 87, 98 intersection, right in that area, right, there you go. If you begin at Highway 87, and this is because we can't walk the halls, as our chairman is fond of saying, but I propose that we as a board consider making input to the TPO and to the regional planning authorities and get our names in the hat. If somebody had done this 15, 20 years ago, we'd be looking at building a bridge now. If you start at 87 at the intersection and bring a 4-lane bridge over to the island, making landfall over by our utility drive, the property that we already own, make it 4 lanes into the area. That, we already know that Navarre is a drive traffic. Navarre, as a tourist attraction, is a drive traffic. We draw from Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, Arkansas, and they all drive here. And the only way to get to Navarre is to come down 87. Now, that is going to be 4-lane. The rest of the solution, in my opinion, is to bring a 4-lane bridge across to the island, come down either with a 90-degree curve at this problem intersection we're discussing, or with a roundabout, and terminate the 2-way traffic at Juanas. Make the bridge one way off the island and use every square inch of the bridge and all of the available intersection as an off-flow. Your visitors, unless they're going to go to Destin or Pensacola, are going to use the 4-lane bridge. If you're from Georgia, when you get ready to leave, you're not going to queue up and join the traffic feeding on the 98. You're going to depart directly across the 4-lane bridge and out the 4-lane 87 up to Interstate 10 and go home. So what that would do for us is eliminate the queue. Mm-hmm. Everybody lines up at 87 and waits their turn at the light to join the queue, to get off on the shoulder, to creep down to the intersection, and to make their way onto the beach. And then exiting is just as laborious. I think you all know how these things work. It takes years. But if we put this in the hopper now, I think that sometime in the foreseeable future, we'll have a livable solution. And we'll have that in a more presentable format for the next set of meetings, so that we can, if you gentlemen agree with me, get that on the TPO agenda and put it in line for funding. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Well, I don't see it as a bad idea, but it, as we said earlier, it's just like about the sign, the Blue Star Memorial sign. I don't know if we started that project today, we'd ever, perhaps Commissioner Lynchert might be still around in his wheelchair by the time that happens. I'm more interested in what can we do in a short term, a quick solution, cost effectiveness, that type of thing. And I really was hoping to get a little more from you guys today on your thoughts. We had a citizen, Rob Williamson, come up here and presented to us the left turn off the bridge on Highway 98, more of an input on, you know, I know you said 25%, but what goes into account of that? How many cars can queue up? Do you count on, okay, how many cars might be sitting 1 or 2 cars away from making that right turn and getting on down Highway 98 heading towards Fort Walton? Are they in that 25% factor that you use? And then we had some discussion also, you just talked about the roundabout on the island, but there's been some recent discussion of closing some of those off, making the park entrance perhaps through the parking lot. Have you explored that?
That was something that we had spoken with Mr. Blaylock about.
Okay, but
In those recommendations, some other things came to light about the children's programs in the park, so that's something that would have to be considered, as well as for the parking lot to the south, bringing all of that traffic in at the pier side versus where they're coming in now. So there are some considerations that would have to go into that, but that would be a more economical approach to eliminate some of this congestion now, if you can remove that always stop some way like that.
Okay, so how far down the road are we on looking at entering, using one entrance to the parking lots? I mean, and closing off the entrance into the east end, I guess.
I would imagine that could be done pretty easily. There might be some considerations with the private property there,
Yeah,
the vacant lot.
that would be relatively simple to make that a three-way intersection, which means sever the south exit at the four-way stop.
Yeah, I mean,
Right there between the two restaurants.
Yeah.
So that could become a three-way, and you would allow your pedestrian, your bicycle traffic to continue southbound through the intersection because of, our bike path.
yeah, if they were to move, the pedestrians and all were to move to the east side of the road, now you're not,
Right.
not crossing there. But the other option, and we have two entrances to that parking lot.
Yes.
Have you
that's what-
explored at all closing off both the entrances to both parking lots, make that just a 90-degree turn right there and using the one entrance? Or do we, that's kind of an engineering question. Does it get too convoluted in
Well,
traffic to try to do that?
That becomes a little more problematic and will cost a lot more dollars. We have not looked at the alternatives. The one thing that Jason and Fred had recommended was moving the entrance to the park. Let me try to get an example. Somewhere north of the intersection and coming in, going around and splitting, if you will. This is the Marine Science Station right here, this building. We talked about coming right into that parking lot with an entrance. That doesn't work as well
No,
because of the
I can
traffic.
see that blocking
crossing.
traffic, yeah, trying to
And
turn.
so looked at perhaps realigning and creating a new driveway entrance, even perhaps going around the Sea Turtle Rescue building here.
Can we get the top half of this out and put, yeah.
This is their presentation. I'm
There
not sure.
again, how about just, we got a parking lot right there, we got property, just, I can't point to it, just from the northeast corner of our parking lot. No, northeast corner of our parking lot.
Northeast, right here, you talking about this parking lot?
Yeah,
Yes.
the northeast corner there, to your right a little more, right there. We just bring that road around and right back into the park. Boom. I mean, that, that, to me, just like the second lane turning left, I mean, to me, those are things that, $1 million, $1.5 million, we can get these things done and get something going here for the folks out there rather than,
Mr. Chairman.
yes, sir.
But you still have that conflict with
excuse me.
southbound. Oh, I'm sorry.
Those options are absolutely viable and deserve exploring, but if somebody had done this 20 years ago,
Sure, well,
instead of
we can't go
maintaining
back
the
20 years.
Band-Aid approach,
Well,
we would not have this problem. So I submit to you that this is a two-pronged effort. We need a strategic plan in place which will provide the relief that our grandchildren are going to need.
Sure.
The fact that we don't get immediate gratification out of it doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. This is the right thing to do, and we should continue to look for the temporary workarounds and Band-Aid fixes until a proper fix can be put in place. But like I said in the beginning of my remarks, if somebody had done this 20 years ago, we wouldn't have a problem today.
yeah, and I said, I don't have a problem with pursuing that. I keep getting emails from folks, and I'm sure everybody else does, that, what are we gonna do in the short term? What are we gonna do that's cost effective? I think as a board, that's our most important thing. What's cost effective, what's doable, so I'd just like to see us take a good hard look at that and,
Mr.
see
Chairman,
where we can get with it. Commissioner?
if I remember correctly, The existing Navarre Bridge, the county owns it. The state basically mandated that we take ownership of that bridge a few years back. At some point in time, we're going to have to address replacing that bridge. I don't know if it's 10 years or 25 years, but the long-range plan that Commissioner Melvin's talking about would seem like that would fit more when we, the county, not TPO, because it's a county bridge, you know, when we have to replace that bridge, where does it go? So, Commissioner Melvin, I think as we look forward with having to replace the old bridge, we certainly don't have the money to replace the old bridge and then build a second bridge. So I think the right thing to do would be start that planning process of when you have to relocate the old bridge, where's the best place for it to go?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I understand what you're saying. I don't think that, I don't understand what the opposition to a permanent fix is.
I don't think you've heard any opposition. I agreed with it, Don agreed with it, we're just inputting, like you said, that, okay, these are some solutions. I agree with Don, if it's,
I thought I heard somebody say, let's wait.
Did you say let's
Okay.
wait?
Well, here again, what I said was, instead of planning a totally separate bridge that would end up being two bridges, the old bridge replacement and the new bridge, let's just start trying to evaluate when that old bridge will have to be replaced. And at that point in time, where would be the best place to relocate the old bridge, which would become the new bridge?
Well, I guess it's a difference in the thought processes. I don't see it as a linear situation, first A and then B. I think we can do both at the same time. You have the current situation creates a serious bottleneck on 98 because all of the traffic, you're forced to queue up on 98 to come to the beach. The new bridge would allow the lion's share of the traffic to come straight across 98 onto the island without ever having to queue up and further add to the congestion of 98 because we are a drive market. If you plan to replace the bridge, if you wanted to replace our current bridge in the current footprint, current location, all you do is just have a brand-new bridge with a bad problem.
Well, I guess my point's going to be, and I'm not going to make any more comments, but here again, the county owns that bridge. It's going to be our responsibility to come up with the funds to replace that bridge at some point in time in the future. And one thing we've talked about, we don't need to wait until the year we say we need it to start trying to identify some funds, whether it's a toll back on the beach or whatever it's going to be, because that's going to be a significant amount of money to replace that bridge. My point once again is we're going to struggle to find money to replace the old bridge, and we certainly would struggle to find money to replace that old bridge and then build a new bridge along with it, because you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars to try to do them both. So my only point, Commissioner Melvin, is let's just know that we're going to have to replace that old bridge one day.
Oh, absolutely.
And we can get some kind of determination on when that might be. And if it should be relocated to a better location, then let's start talking about that.
Commissioner Lynch and then Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it's never too early to start planning, as Commissioner Melvin has suggested. If we had unlimited funds, we would be able to fix the problem one way or the other. We could do a flyover off the existing bridge. You know, that's the way it's handled in Gulf Breeze. And normally there's no problem getting traffic off of the island. Now on heavy weekends, you know, hopefully this upcoming weekend on Pensacola Beach will be a busy one. Hopefully it will on Navarre as well. But you know, they've done it with a flyover that spills traffic onto Highway 98 going westbound. Whereas, you know, our problem in Navarre is we have a light, you know, so there's that delay built in. Those are long-term plans. It's going to take a long time, 20, 30 years probably, if not more, to come up with that kind of universal fix. What can we do in the short term to alleviate some of the traffic woes that we have in Navarre Beach. And I see two suggestions in your, two or three, actually three suggestions in your study here. The roundabout, or in some way modifying that intersection. You know, how can we come up with a free right turn coming onto the beach? And is that the choke point? You know, is it something that we need to, I've seen in other areas where you have the traffic pattern changes during the day. So you can have a free right in the morning when more traffic's coming onto the beach, and then a free left in the afternoon when people are getting off of the beach. Is that something that you've looked at, you've seen in other areas? Is it something that we could incorporate out there through signalizing that intersection so that it changes, the traffic pattern through the intersection changes during the day? Or are we just creating a problem when we do that? Roger?
Yes, if I can get my screen projected. This is a photograph of an overwash condition shortly after one of the hurricanes, and you can see here that this was, you know, sanded in, so it looks like the pavement's gone. It's actually covered with sand. But the predominant maneuver, midday, 11 o'clock to noon, predominant traffic pattern is southbound to westbound. And then reverse that from whatever the peak hour we see, 2:30, 3 o'clock through about 4 o'clock, is eastbound to northbound. And one of the thought processes that we had talked about initially was looking at a free right here, if right-of-way would provide it as an interim, and then, of course, their recommendation, look at severing this connection here and finding an alternate entrance here. That would make that a 90-degree turn, and indeed it would take away both of any left turn at that intersection is going to queue up traffic, is what their study showed us. So if we can eliminate the lefts, all we're going to do now, understand, is we're just going to transfer those delays elsewhere to other intersections on Navarre Beach. If we were to move the entrance to the park up here, that's just going to move it there. If we could bring it here, it's going to put it all right back on this intersection. So do understand that short term we can get this intersection here fixed. I'm not sure we're going to fix all of our delays eastbound in the afternoon.
Well, Roger, why would we close the entrance into the parking lot straight south off the causeway?
Because they can describe it, but basically you're trying to keep that maneuver southbound from interacting with that left-bound, that left turn here northbound. That creates that all-stop condition.
Okay, so we'd have to
One
come
car
down,
going-
we'd have to come down a little bit and put a turn lane into the,
There already is a turn lane
there's a
at the
turn
Pier
lane there. Is
Store.
there enough queuing there for?
It may have to be extended, yes, but there is a turn lane, left turn lane, southbound into the pier parking lot driveway.
Well, personally, I don't see any reason to tie the entrance into the big park where the sanctuary is anywhere north of that intersection. That, to me, would just cause more congestion trying to get in there, but I don't know about the rest of the board, but I'd sure like to explore just using our existing parking lot and accessing that park and at least closing one of them one of them 4 legs off and very possibly a second one.
Talking about right here.
Yes, sir. I mean, that seems like one quick fix, and then I think we asked a few weeks ago when Mr. Williamson came up to, and addressed that, for staff to look at the right turn or the left turn off the bridge. And, I'd like to hear a little more about that. I mean, the 25%, how accurate is that? Is that kind of a conservative estimate? Could we look at possibly doing better than 25%?
Yeah, I mean, that's based on the traffic volumes that we collected in the modeling that was conducted there. So, I mean, that is based on those conditions, but whenever you're increasing that capacity of that movement, you could expect, and coupled that with the timing changes that were recently implemented, should help to move more traffic off that bridge.
So you say it would be a good quick fix?
In my opinion, yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I'd like to, rest of the board in favor, look at what kind of franchise fee funding may be left down there in that district, and maybe get something moving here, because that's what folks want to see. They, you know, the people out there want to see this board act accordingly, and something that can be done pretty quickly and cost effectively, I believe. So.
That would have to work through DOT though, because
Pardon?
that would have to work, we'd have to work with DOT on that since it's the intersection with 98. And
Okay.
I'd be glad to start that process though.
Yeah, you know, there again, you get it started. With them turning the bridge over to us and putting that on our back, I would think they'd want to work with us on getting people across that bridge, so. All right. Any other comments? Yes, ma'am.
Loretta Aiken, 1828 Sundown Drive, Navarre, Florida. If you block that entrance coming in, what about emergency vehicles? How many runs do they make to that area is one of the questions.
You talking about into the park?
Uh-huh. Right there where the pier and that area. Because the Navarre Beach can tell you.
Road's a road. We got to look at all aspects of it, but
Yeah.
I mean, it would lengthen response time, I'm sure, by, you know, maybe 15, 20 seconds if they had to drive through there. But again, it may shorten response time because they're not sitting in traffic. So you kind of got to.
I mean, I don't know. That would be one of the questions that I asked the chief over at the beach. Number two, I like the roundabout. I've used them before, and they're very effective. And I would say also our commissioner should go to Navarre, have a town hall meeting, and ask the people, because some great things have come recently from people on the street that don't come to these meetings, they don't really know what y'all do, and they've gotten involved, and there was a major DOT change that's saving thousands of dollars, and it came out of the mouth of a citizen who's never attended one of these meetings. And it's turned out to be really good. He asked for some information from me and the fire department, put the thing together, and I was amazed. And Doug Broxton's been working with him. But I would say meet with the people, ask their questions. And I know Mr. Williamson gave a great info, but I live down there. And we got traffic coming east, west, and south trying to get not only to the beach, but just beyond that point. And you think about the Hurlbut traffic, it's horrendous in the evening. And that's when everybody's trying to get off the beach. So just, I would say, open it up, let others throw their info in, and then see what happens.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Milton.
That's part and parcel of the process, as you well know from the other things that have gone on 98. Once DOT gets it started, they do public hearings, they do town hall meetings, and my phone and my email and the folks that I have breakfast with in Navarre are buzzing. The Highway 98 is geographically constrained. It's like a pipe whose diameter cannot be increased, and you've got a fixed volume of traffic flowing through it. Think about that as water. You can either increase the velocity through the pipe, which we don't want to do, or you can eliminate delays, because those are the options right now. Catching something off of 87 that keeps you off 98 would eliminate some of the delays. Giving a dedicated way off of the island would eliminate some of those delays, and would also mitigate the problems that we have, in that if Pensacola loses a bridge, there's only one way off that island. If Navarre takes a barge on the bridge, there's still only one way off that island. And that whole thing hinges, as we said in our resolution to basically to the world, that whole thing hinges on the National Seashore Road staying open. Because if that National Seashore Road ever closes, you're stuck. So the short-range planning is very, very important, and it's not something that I'm poo-pooing, but we need a strategic plan for this that will, I mean, given 98's constraints, other than elevating it, and there's been some discussion about that, about elevating it. But with, as you've seen in the urban areas where through traffic is up high and the local traffic is down low, there's precious few other real viable fixes for 98.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion? All right, we appreciate you guys coming out today. I think we cut you out a little more homework to get with our county engineer with, so we'll look to hear more from you.
Thank you.
I don't think you'll get it done by Thursday, though, so. But we'll give you till the next meeting date. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Jason.
All right, we'll move on now. Mr. Blaylock, go to the next item, please.
Yes, item number 2 is a discussion of change order number 1 from AE New Builders for the June H Agriplex in the amount of $8,104. I'm still looking in the audience, and I don't see our consultant, Steve Jernigan with Bay Design and Associates. It's my understanding he was going to be here to present that, so perhaps we can.
All right. Roger, what I read here is the, per the attached drawings as required by county code review. So our county code review says we got to spend $8,000 on a janitor's closet. One, was that in the original? I mean, I know it wasn't an original or it had already been approved, but is that a standing requirement in our codes? And if so, why wasn't it originally in the drawings?
And that's why I'd asked the architect to be here. But I can tell you that the plans were initially submitted, the site plan and the foundation drawings for a metal building often are submitted for approval, reviewed and approved. And then they provide what they call cut sheets to the building inspection department. I'm not familiar with that process. So.
All right, give me an idea of what we have a janitorial closet for, and I don't mean for myself to sound dumb in this, but I know we're gonna keep probably some restroom, extra toilet paper, extra towels, mops and brooms and such truck as that in.
Right,
in
and the plumbing associated with that special mop sink or mop shower stall, that sort of thing.
I bet I can buy a good heavy steel locker and bolt it to the wall for a whole lot less than $8,000. And then just like with the rest of the agriplex, as we start developing and expanding, building the other restroom and stuff, we can move forward with a little fancier water closet. Because I'm not in no way ready to approve $8,000 for a closet, period.
Let us take and sit down with the architect again
Okay.
and discuss this, and if we have a resolution presentable to the board Thursday, we'll bring it back
Okay.
to you. But this was just what has been brought to us to bring to you.
Well, you heard my two questions. One, why wasn't it there to begin with? And two, what can we do in the interim to get this off the ground for about $500-600 for, like I say, a good steel closet bolted to the wall type thing.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner.
my question is, if this is required by county code, I want to know if it's also required by state and national code. And that's something we'd have to get as far as the building code, because anytime you figure a job that's responsibility of the contractor to meet all these codes and specifications, it's just like me if I figure a electrical job, even though I have a blueprint that's drawn by the architect, it's up to me to make sure that all the requirements that meet these local codes are met. If I don't figure the job accordingly, then it's on me to pay for it or take care of it. And so I think this is something that needs to be decided between the architect and the builder. I think it's their responsibility if, and my question being if, this is a local, state, and national requirement.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
You know, I'm almost, again, I don't believe we've got any kind of local code on mop sinks and janitorial closets, so I assume that's going to be included in the regular Florida building code.
State.
Well, that's
So
why I'm asking, because
right.
we enforce, basically,
Absolutely.
we normally don't have local codes. We enforce state and national codes. But that's why I put the question like it is, who is requiring this? And we need to find that out, and that will answer our question as to how we need to address it.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. All right, we'll take this back up on Thursday then, right? Hearing no objection, it moves to Thursday.
And then finally, we have just the approval of some construction plans. This is the Heritage Oak, the subdivision down in Navarre, and they're working towards getting those, a development order for that subdivision. And with that, it concludes the engineer's report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Blaylock. We'll move on now to Public Service Committee. Commissioner Lynchard.
No items today, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Williamson for Public Works.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have no items today either.
All right, Commissioner Melvin, Budget and Finance.
Yes, sir. We have 6 items this morning. Item number 1 is discussion of bids received for a home substantial rehabilitation project located at 4361 Pine Villa Circle in Pace. Low bidder meeting specifications is Kaiser Siding and Construction Incorporated with a bid of $32,715. I recommend we move this to Thursday without objection.
Doing so, it passes.
Item number 2 is discussion of budget amendment 2013-138 in the amount of $29,755, which will carry forward law enforcement trust funds and allocate those funds for the Sheriff's Office expenditure in the fine and forfeiture fund. I recommend we move this to Thursday without objection.
Hearing none, it passes.
Item number 3 is discussion of budget amendment 2013-139 in the amount of $239,000, which will fund a one-time allocation to the Health Department Trust Fund balance, and it's due to the Medicaid reform and budget reductions as approved at the June 27, 2013 BOCC meeting, and these will come from the general fund. I recommend we move this to Thursday without objection.
Hearing none, it passes.
Item number 3 is discussion of budget amendment 2013-140 in the amount of $2,500,000, which will carry forward unspent funds from prior year and allocate those to future capital outlay in the Capital Projects Fund. I recommend we move this to Thursday without objection.
Hearing none, it passes.
Item number 5 is discussion of budget amendment 2013-141 in the amount of $26,800, which will transfer funds from the Capital Project Fund to the Administrative Center maintenance for the exterior painting of the County Administrative Center is approved at the March 28, 2013 Board of County Commission regular meeting. I recommend we move this to Thursday without objection.
Hearing none, it passes.
Final item is discussion of the county expenditures and check register. I will have that reviewed and signed off and on your desk by Thursday morning, Mr. Chairman. I recommend we move this to Thursday without objection.
Hearing none, it passes.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other further comments from the board, staff? I'll open it now to public forum.
Loretta Aiken, 1828 Sundown Drive, Navarre, Florida. Last night I had the privilege of having dinner with the governor. Didn't know Commissioner Cole got to him at the reception, so I had a little chat with him about our industrial park, because I found out that Amazon is coming to Florida with $300 million that they want to get an industrial area to put their business in. So I called Commissioner Cole and told him about what I heard. And so last night I talked to the governor, and he gave me the pathway to who's in charge. So this morning I got up and got on the computer to see where are we on the computer. If I wanted to buy an industrial lot, what would I find? Number one, on the state computer, when you pull it up, the map showed locations everywhere around Santa Rosa, but did not show that Santa Rosa had an industrial park. Now, if I was a stranger, I wouldn't know where else to go. So then I pulled up some more information, and I found out, yeah, we got information on our industrial parks, but it's not on the state one that I could find. And what I found out is we're promoting, Team Santa Rosa is promoting our industrial park. Now, we don't have Team Santa Rosa anymore, and it's been gone at least a year. And my question is, why is that showing up, and who's the contact? And So I think it's time for somebody to look on the site and start researching what the state has and why every county around us had, but we weren't there. It didn't show us. And then I went to another site looking at rural information for industrial parks, and I really didn't find anything with us there. So I'm not real computer savvy, but we need to get Team Santa Rosa off the computer and put your new name, and I forgot what it is, and really push this. I feel we've got a great opportunity on this Amazon thing. My understanding is Commissioner Cole is going to be trying to get the governor to come here and tour. Awesome. And we need to get that park going, because when we get one person in, it's going to be like wildfire. Everybody's going to want to be here. And we have a lot to offer. And I told him, we need jobs in Santa Rosa County, and we want to be considered at the top of the list. Thank you.
Greta, thank you very much. Appreciate you taking that time and doing that. I'll ask Joy has heard you back there about checking on our local site, and if Commissioner Solar would please get this information to Shannon and
Mr. Chairman, just for Loretta's information, this board, I think it was about a month ago, we approved, I think it was $15,000 to $20,000 for Shannon to start to transfer all of our web stuff over to Santa Rosa County Economic Development Department. So, but I'll follow up with it.
thank you, Commissioner Solar.
Good morning, Jerry Cooey, 6049 Arnie's Way. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. I wanted to come forward today. First of all, Commissioner Melvin, I think you had a hand in it, and all of you agreed to it. So I wanted to congratulate this board for deeming a piece of property surplus in the south end of the county and bringing $200,000 back to the coffers and putting it back on the tax rolls. I think that's real important. And I applaud all 5 of you. However, apparently, and Ms. Jones, maybe you can give some additional light. I know I've missed a couple county commission meetings. I was worried about my house washing away. But we just had some kind of a lease agreement with a building on Highway 90. Is that correct? We're working on that. 5,000 square foot building. Did the county have anything to do with that?
You're going to have to help me. It's not ringing any bells, Mr. Cooley.
Reported by the Navarre Press, a 25-year lease to the Arts Council. Okay, and briefly, maybe give me a little history on that. How did that come about?
It's handled in a meeting. Like I said, it was about a year ago, and I don't know that I recall all the details at all. It was some time ago, but there was it was discussed in at least one meeting, maybe more. Okay,
did we do an RFP? Did we allow other entities within Santa Rosa County to bid on said property?
Don't believe so.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you, I'm a little more than upset over how we take the assets of the citizens of Santa Rosa County and how we are starting to handle our business now. I think it's improper. I won't stand here today and tell you that it's illegal, but I will tell you that it's improper to take an asset that belongs to the taxpayers, that is off of the tax rolls, to not do an RFP, to not follow up on any state requirements. We just pick and choose. Now, we just got one back on the tax rolls, which I applaud, but then we turn around and we do the same thing again. Now, I certainly don't have any issue with the group that got that. My problem is procedures. We have sunshine laws. We're supposed to abide by certain guidelines. It is not fair for an entity to get something, use of a building, for 25 years at $25 a year, when there's not been any offer to any other group or organization in Santa Rosa County. For that matter, any place in the United States of America. I'm having a real problem with this. Okay? It needs to cease. Okay? If we have something that's surplus, it needs to be surplus. And Loretta Aiken needs to hang a for sale sign on it. It needs to be sold so they can go back in the hands of private individuals so that it's on the tax rolls again. Okay? I don't believe there's a citizen out here that's going to disagree with me on that. Picking and choosing people to benefit for $25 a year is wrong. And I'm going to tell you, I'm personally going to dig a little bit deeper into this one. But secondly, I felt like we have headed in the right direction on a lot of things in the last 2 or 3 years. This is troubling to me. This is troubling that whether any commissioners wanted this to happen or whether it was staff that worked this up, it's troubling to me that we don't have a transparency, that we don't open it to all entities. Okay? So, my final statement here is, we need to follow RFP. We need to put things out for bid. We need to get the best dollars available for the taxpayers' assets. I don't think that's too much to ask for. Again, I think we can do better than that. We picked up $200,000 and we're going to get a tax bill every year from a building that we deem surplus. That's what we need to be doing. We have a lot of things that we could sell. This is not a good deal for the taxpayers, and I'm sorely disappointed in how it was handled. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner.
I'd like to comment on that. One thing, the Arts Council came to the board wanting to know if we had a building they could use. In fact, we had a building that we had bid out or put up for bid that we had a low bidder on, and they wanted to take that building, and we said, no, we've already bid that out. We're going to sell that to the folks that are buying the building. We will look and see if there's anything else available. We did that in open meetings. We discussed it in open meetings. We were able to come up with an existing building that we had, and everything was done above board and in open meetings. This building was not for sale, but we said, well, this might be something that would be better for you, that maybe since you're going to be doing the renovation and spending money on it, it's in a good place downtown, it's more visible to the public, and that's what we did in open meetings. There was nothing hidden about it, and the building was not for sale. The other building, like I say, was for sale, and they wanted to take that building. We said, no, we're not going to allow you to do that because we have a bidder, and the right thing for us to do is to sell it to the high bidder. And that's what we did. There was nothing hidden, not at all. We had no request from anybody else. We had a request from these people, and we were trying to help somebody in the city that was doing something for a good cause. There's nothing hidden or any sneaky deals or anything like that done. And I can understand what you're saying, opening things up for people to bid. Sure, if you got it for sale or if you've got something for use. But we had a specific request, and we worked with these folks for several months trying to come up with something to help them out, and that's what we were able to do. So I don't really understand completely why you feel like you feel, because there was nothing underhanded that was done.
Let me clarify. Not one time did I say anything underhanded was done. My point is, we own that asset. We, the taxpayers, own that asset. It is now in the hands of somebody else for 25 years with another 25-year extension. Why wasn't it sold to start out with? And I still stand by my point, and hopefully Commissioner Williamson and I, we can spar a little bit and still be friends over this, but it should have been an RFP. It should have been advertised so that everyone has an opportunity. I understand it was done in an open meeting, but procedures were not followed that are normally followed. When we want to do a contract with somebody, what do? We put it in the newspaper, we open it up, we allow people to place bids on it. From a taxpayer standpoint, that asset is, I will have zero control of that building for the next 50 years. I will not get any tax revenue off of it. You can't sell it because you've signed a lease with them. That's the issue that I have with it. You know, you've taken a taxpayer asset and you've wrapped it up for 50 years. And I just, you know, I'm going to have to stand on RFPs need to be done, Ms. Jones, Mr. Walker. These things need to be put in the newspaper. We need to get the best and the best offer, the best circumstances for the taxpayers of Santa Rosa County. I don't think it's too much to ask. Somebody else might have wanted to give us more than $25 a year. Somebody else might have could have possibly wanted to buy it. It's Highway 90 road frontage. Come on. I got to believe there's some value there. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
And I understand your point and your thoughts, but also this was a nonprofit that was trying to do something for the community and in the city for a good cause. And we, as members of the board, elected to work something out with them to be able to use it. And the length of the leases, because they were putting a considerable investment in redoing the building to be able to use it to attract folks to downtown area.
But as a point of fact, is we still control the building. We still got the material in the building. It's the Whittle building. We've used it for storage. The state's attorney still got material stored there. The clerk's got material stored there. Our office does. The Art Association is going to have to work around the amount of material. We're still functionally using that building as ours. I mean, I don't disagree with what Mr. Cooley's saying. I mean, but the point of fact is if we were to surplus the building and get rid of it, I would agree. We're using it now as we ever did. Now, at some point, we're going to have to when the Arts Association decides what they want to do with it, is we're going to have to figure out alternate. This is still about a 10,000 square foot building essentially that's got the built as a warehouse. We've converted it to a warehouse, so we're going to have to find or construct a warehouse situation if we vacate that one, and that's obviously going to take resources and money. So I'm just saying is we currently fully use that building the same as we always do. I don't disagree with you, Jerry. I'm just saying as a functional matter, we still use the building.
That's fine. And I appreciate you clarifying that. I would like the board to strongly consider making it coming up with a board policy that we need to have an RFP process in place that needs to be a matter of board policy. This is not the first time this has occurred. We've previous commissioners here have bought a $240 million or $240,000 piece of property. It had 9 parking places on it. We keep having these little bumps in the road. Okay, and look, I'm all about helping nonprofits. I'll work myself to death for a nonprofit. Constantly. I hadn't seen a football game in 12 years because I've been cooking those shish kebabs you eat. I understand that. It's a matter of fairness. I believe the Board of County Commissioners needs to make it a board policy that regarding taxpayer assets, we need to have a written procedure, RFP, then we don't have these problems again. I think it clears up the matter for everyone. We are picking and choosing right now what we do an RFP on. We did an RFP for consultants. We're doing one for the pier. When we look at a road project, we do one. But then on this one, we didn't do one. Okay, this is a taxpayer asset. We need to make sure we get the best deal for the taxpayer. Thank you.
Loretta Aiken, 1828 Sundown Drive, Navarre. I hated to bother you, but is there a building that I can get for a nonprofit, 2,000 square foot, and we'll pay probably that much a month? Who would is it Hunter? Are you the one I would ask? Or, I mean, I'm serious. We've been looking, and guidelines prevent us from buying, and we would like to rent, possibly. I don't make the final decision. Do you have a building, and is it one we could fix up, take care of, or something?
I don't have any specific building, I mean, other than the health department building that had just turned back to environmental health, but we've not decided what we're gonna do with that building.
Where's that located? I'm not familiar.
Stewart Street, just north of Milton High School.
Okay. Well, let me know, and
2815 square footage.
it's how big?
2,850 square feet.
That's a little bit big. Well, no, that's about right.
I don't know, that's what it is.
Yeah, but it is definitely a nonprofit, and it would help us so much. Thank you.
All right, any other comments? Seeing none, Commissioner Williamson, I appreciate your comments. Thank you very much. We are adjourned.